So despite having a very wet spring, we had an exciting year because we were able to get some grapes and produce some wine. Because of the rain, we had a lot of cleanup to do, and that lasted almost through all of spring. We started in January with pruning and cleanup, and continued to do a lot of weed whacking and maintenance around the property through the spring and into early summer. But the year wasn't all great. We did have some additional pest problems and problems with production, even though we had a nice bud break in April and began spraying for powdery mildew and downy mildew. We did have both throughout the growing season, and we're constantly battling to knock those back. One additional problem was we had a pesticide drift into the vineyard, which caused a lot of stunting of the leaf growth and vine growth that you'll see in the next few pictures. The vines on the right were much more prolific in their production and growth than the ones on the left. Even though some of those ones on the left produced some grapes, they were pretty tiny. You can see the leaves were problematic, as well as some of the clusters. We had some irrigation problems and solved those, but we did make it through to summer, and we did have grapes. In fact, we ended up with about 250 clusters. And in August, we went through veraison, and then we were trying to figure out the best way to protect the vines after veraison because of the birds. This year, we decided to go ahead and bag the clusters with visqueen bags rather than doing full netting, to see how that would work with protecting the fruit from insects and from birds. It ended up working very well, and we did have a yield this year. October 14th was our harvest. We harvested 24 pounds of grapes, which was really exciting. And again, it was our first yield since we put the vineyard in 2021. Everything we did this year was by hand because it was such a small crop. We destemmed and crushed by hand. We also pressed the grapes by hand. October 16th, we pitched the yeast, and fermentation was completed on the 22nd, and then we pressed the must. Began malactic fermentation the next day, and when we completed malactic fermentation, we ended up with 1.5 gallons of wine, which was really exciting, and ultimately our end yield will be about 1 gallon. See you in 2024. Thanks a lot.